And folks, we're back with another episode of Behind the Uniform, the series where we go in depth behind the scenes of the guy that's wear the helmet, play on that field, and learn about what goes into making them be able to do what they do, and also learn about them preparing for their financial futures and securing what that future looks like through their planning and investments during the financial literacy boot camp. And super excited to have a young man who he had in his freshman year and to see him get things underway this fall on the field like he was slated to last season. I'm talking about, hey man, I'm not ashamed to say it, one of my favorite dudes, Andrew Babalola. Andrew, Babs, how you doing?
Doing good, Sam. How are you?
I'm doing great, man. First of all, I'm just happy for you, happy to see you, be back. It looks like you're full strength. You look in great shape. So just give us an update on where you are physically.
Yeah, I'm feeling great. Really since summer's gone, I've been full go with the team, doing everything, drills, contact stuff, and so I feel great right now.
Yeah, man, and so, you were trending up, obviously, as a true freshman. Rare is it the case that a true freshman could be on pace to maybe even start? Who was the last freshman starter? Bryce, it would be Mason Cole. That's right. Mason Cole was the last true freshman starter. And you were tracking like that, man. Did you, at least from my view, did you feel like that?
I feel like it. Yes, sir, I did.
Yeah, man. So when did it start to click for you last season, before the injury, of course? That this is trending up. This is trending well. I'm looking like I'm gonna be a guy. When did you start to notice that?
I'd probably say just going into fall camp, the difference between that and spring ball. I came in early, and so I feel like for everybody, when you get in spring ball and you're a kid still in high school, your head's kind of spinning and, you don't know what you're doing out there. But I feel like over the summer last year, just got stronger, got into fall camp, and, it took a few practices, but I was able to be like, okay, I can do this. I can hang with the guys.
Yeah, man. It was athletically, I feel like we got to remind people of who you are as a prospect. The highest rated lineman in school history from a ranking standpoint. I understand the rankings, but still, that's significant because it highlights the kind of athletic talent you are. You are a tremendous athlete. Obviously, the focus was basketball first. So let's give people a refresher course. You were going to be a basketball guy that flipped over into a football guy, right?
Yes,
how did all of that sort of come to fruition for you?
Yeah, so like you said, I was basketball my whole life. I've been playing basketball since I was 5, doing the whole AAU tournaments, camps, all that. And so it was really my high school coach, Clint Ryder, at my high school back in Kansas City, Blue Valley Northwest. He convinced me to play football going into my junior year and gave it a shot, loved it, blew up after that, and then now we're here.
Yeah, man. And so I always wonder when a guy, whether it's a guy going from offense to defense or a guy going from basketball to football, the mentality part of the sport. If you're an offensive guy going to defense, can you play with that kind of edge you see defenders play with? And if you're coming from basketball to football, can you have that football mentality? And Andrew, man, this nice guy to talk to. We could vibe, we could have a real good conversation. Yeah. Something in you, man, when you get on the football field, it's different. To me, you really flip a switch. Is that something that, you get yourself in that mode, or it just happens when you step onto the field? How do you kind of get in the game mode?
I think it just happens when you're on the field. You know what I mean? Going back to basketball even, I played against guys who are even just got drafted in the NBA now, you know what I mean? And so it was always, for me, about having a competitive mentality in whatever you're doing, you know what I mean? And so I learned that from basketball at a young age, and I carried to football.
Yeah, it's funny you said whatever you're doing, because we had Carter Meadows in, young freshman, highly rated guy, and he said, just getting acclimated. And he says, we aren't really doing contact stuff. He said, we do a few drills here and there. And he said, man, I was going against Babalola. And he said, man, this dude snatched me. He snatched me up. And he said, hey, bro, this is just real. But he said, but it made me know that, you compete in everything.
Yes, sir.
And that seems like that's your mentality.
No, definitely. Whatever you're doing, you got to compete, because I feel like, again, whether it's simple stuff or just going through drills, I feel like how you practice, how you play. You know what I mean? So whether it's, you know, you're in search and source, you're going to have that same mentality when the pads come on. And so I just try to play with that same fire each time.
Yeah, so you're trying to finish guys every time. You can watch it on film. That is every single snap, you're trying to bury a guy. So, I mean, did that ever result in any flags in high school? Or was it always like up to the flag and not quite getting the flag?
I didn't really get that many flags in high school. It's funny, the first game my senior year, we played our rivals, and it was like the first quarter, I think. We had a little like jailbreak screen to the receiver, and so I was able to get out on the corner, and I think I drove him all the way to the sideline, and I got a flag for that. But I think that was one of the only few flags I got in high school for holding.
Yeah. So you aren't going past the whistle, you just go to the end of the whistle.
Exactly.
Yeah. There's a difference. That's still clean, right?
Yeah.
But, you know, obviously circumstances happen in football. Injury in fall camp, I know it was devastating. But you attacked. So take me through how you made it through last year and the grind of rehab. What was that like for you?
Yeah, it was definitely tough, especially since, I mean, it literally happened a week and a half before the first game in our final scrimmage. And so, you know, it's kind of one of those things where, like, you don't even want to believe it until, you know, you see the x-ray, you see the MRIs, and then it's like, okay, I'm not going to play this year. That's what happened. But it was hard for me. But at the end of the day, I think I took it as it's what happened. How can I make the best of it? And so because of that, you know, I'm just thankful that we have great staff, you know, training staff, great people around Ann Arbor that helped me through that. And it was definitely a grind, but I was able to get through it. You know, there were some tough moments, but just stuck with it. You know what I mean? Stuck with my faith. You know, my family played a big part in helping me get back. And so I'm just thankful I was able to stay the course and then be here now.
So over the course of rehab and getting back to yourself, was all of your training in rehab done here? Have you spent some time going to different camps or training with different people? Like, what is your total recovery process, including rehab? What did that entail for you?
Yeah, it's pretty much been here. You know what I mean? Pretty much been here. You know, early stages it was just, you know, in the training room 24/7 pretty much, you know. Before class, when I got done with class, you know, doing whatever I can, and then obviously, you know, during spring ball, still wasn't able to do anything, but getting in the weight room, starting to move a little bit. But it was really just in the training room for probably like 90% of it.
Yeah, and so, you know, you go over the course of the year, you know, you're taking mental reps, you're watching. I'm curious in that process, probably the only time you had to watch football since you started playing football. Was there anything that you picked up being an observer, any way that you got better taking the mental reps? Like, what did you see while you were on the sideline watching it unfold last year?
Yeah, probably just how much I missed it, but as well, I think it really made me appreciate, you know, just getting to play football and getting to do it, you know what I mean? A big part of, honestly, the mental side of my recovery was our new offensive line coach, Jim Harding. He took his time to, you know, whether it was before the spring ball meetings or after, to watch film with me, you know, go through plays. And so that all helped a lot, just being able to miss it for a little bit. And then, you know, now going into fall camp, being able to attack it again.
Yeah, man. So you fast forwarded to the coaching change. Before you get to the change, you got a decision. Every guy on the roster had a decision to make, whether to stay or go. And you could have still, coming off an injury, Andrew Babalola could go anywhere in the country. What was it that made you decide to stay?
I think it was just the main part of that. I chose Michigan for reasons beyond football. You know, my parents always instilled in me in a very young age that, you know, whether you play football, basketball, whatever it is you do in college, you know, the network you have, the education you have is going to carry you a lot farther than your sport does. And so for me, I love Michigan personally. I was born here, and then being able to go to the school, I mean, the network I have, the people I've met with, you know, just other students, teachers, everything like that, I couldn't see myself anywhere else, and so I knew that I was going to stay.
And so, you know, sometimes, look, you come from a circumstance where the last staff had, like, there are offensive line coaches everywhere. Like, I mean, there's just so many. It was like an offensive line, you know, mecca when it came to all kind of coaching you could get. But you go from that to a guy who just had 2 first-round picks this past draft, who you talk to anyone, And if they don't say Jim Harding is the best offensive line coach in the country, they say he's one of the best offensive line coaches in the country. Did you know that about him when you made your decision, or was that something you discovered as you got into it?
It was something that I knew because I actually knew Coach Harding back in high school because he offered me when he was at the last school. And so when it was announced that he'd be the O-line coach here, I was really excited because I knew his track record with, the guys that you said, Spencer, Caleb, Garrett Bowles in the league now. And so I knew that he was a great offensive line coach. He could develop, and he was going to take care of me.
Yeah, no doubt, man. And so you've had an opportunity to be coached by him now. I'm not asking you to make comparisons. I just want to know what do you see just in your experience so far that makes him so good? Why is he regarded as one of the best based on your experience being coached by him so far?
I think the main part about Coach Harding is you can tell he really cares. He treats everybody the same. I mean, nobody gets any special treatment. He treats the starters the same as, the true freshmen who are just coming in, or maybe the guys that don't get much playing time, and so you can just tell that he really cares, I mean, for example, a lot of us like to watch, film of our favorite NFL plays with him, and I mean, he'll do it with anybody, he'll make time out of his day. If he has something, he'll move it around just so he can watch film, he cares a lot. That's the main thing.
So technically, so that's a huge part of it. If he can connect with you personally, that's half of coaching. The other half is can he connect with you in a way that makes the game resonate on a different level, that makes you go out and execute at a higher level than you have before. It sounds like he's been able to do that with every guy he's coached. Has that been your experience?
That's definitely been my experience, getting to watch in the spring ball firsthand, guys with, like Blake, Sprague, how he really molds what they do best into what we're trying to do as an offense, and play to guys' strength and, using certain techniques to guys' strengths, with what they can do. And so I think he does that really well. So
in his approach, so he really cares, you can tell. What's his coaching style like? Because, I mean, it's one thing to say that, yeah, you really connect with them personally, but some guys, the style of coaching doesn't really resonate, but that doesn't seem to be a thing with him. What's his coaching style?
He's demanding. I'll say that 100%. He's demanding, and he gets fiery for sure, but I think that's good because, I saw in the spring ball, he's able to get the most out of guys. You know what I mean? He's on the field, behind the offensive line, he's he's running around, he's got ears and eyes everywhere. And so I'd say, he's just demanding. He's going to get everything out of you. If you're walking after a rep, he's going to get on you about it. He lets nothing slide.
I hear that. So we'll get into talking about how it feels or how much different it is schematically. But culturally, just the style of play seems very similar, Andrew, to what you guys are doing. You're going to smash people. That's what it feels like anyway. You tell me.
Nah, it definitely is, I think this place was built off of running the ball, lining up with your 5 best linemen and, like you said, going through people. And so I think it's going to be more of the same this year.
So as you've gotten a chance to get a feel for the offense, we don't have to give away trade secrets, but what would you say the biggest differences are schematically from what you were doing to what you're doing now?
I say it's just going to be opened up a lot more. You know what I mean? Playing to certain guys' strengths, not being scared of, revealing too much or, being conservative, but really just letting it loose. And like I said, playing to guys' strengths, that's the biggest thing.
Yeah, and so, I look at you and it looks like so where are you physically compared to where you were last year? Are you same weight? Are you bigger? Are you stronger? Like, compare yourself to last year.
I'm definitely a lot stronger. I was pretty heavy, at the end of fall camp last year, and so I slimmed down a little bit. But, yeah, I think the biggest thing for me is I've gotten a lot stronger. And that's a credit to the new strength staff we've had. They've done a great job.
Yeah, so let's quantify that because we've heard every guy come in that had been here say that I've gotten so much, like the change is immense. Yeah. The difference. Maybe the biggest difference was saying he's added 150 pounds to what he can lift, which is that's unbelievable. Yeah. In what, 5 or 6 months? So can you quantify how much stronger you are?
Man, I think the biggest thing with this new strength test is that we test a lot, and so we're we're going heavy, 80, 90% of our maxes a lot. And so I've definitely gotten stronger. I mean, even coming off the injury, I think last year my max squat was probably like 450 or something like that, and I'm able to do that for reps now. Even come off the injury, and so I've gotten a lot stronger everywhere. But they've done a great job with us so far. Yeah.
So it was your max last year, and you're repping 450.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's night and day. And so is that a product of, like you said, you're doing 80, 90% max all the time?
Nah, they're doing a good job of taking care of us, and making sure that our bodies feel fresh. But at the end of the day, I think they're really pushing us, and just making sure that we're not just doing stuff to do it, you know what I mean? But instead, there's, a plan behind everything we do. And it's hard, it's been a grind, but I feel like you said, all the guys have said it, we've gotten stronger, and so it's been good.
So, but then it sounds like they haven't, you're stronger, but you aren't stiffer. There's a whole lot of flexibility and conditioning work as well. As a matter of fact, guys are like, this is, that's harder to a lot of guys than the lifts and all the conditioning. Is it that way for you?
No, it is. Most definitely, yeah. It's after lift, we're going in conditioning, we got a whole lot of stuff, and so they've done a good job with us, but yeah, the conditioning has been a lot.
Yeah, so, the strength staff, you have a feel for and how intense and demanding they are. Coach Harding got a feel for that. Coach Witt, man. Give me your take on what his imprint on the program, what he's sort of instilled in you guys already who haven't been coached by him, like the Utah guys coming over have been.
Yeah, the thing about Coach Witt for me was the first time that we met him is at the bowl game, and he took his time to sit down with every single guy on the team and, get to know them, ask them about what needed to be changed in the program, what he was going to bring and how he was going to take care of us. And so I think that just speaks to the type of guy that he is. And since, I've been with him and see what he's done, over the past 6 months, he's instilled accountability, leadership in the program. Everything that you would expect Michigan football to be represented and stand for. And so I love him. He's been great.
Yeah, man. And again, coming and bringing that same mentality that Michigan is accustomed to playing with, that led Michigan to a championship. He has that kind of mentality that he's coming to the table with. But a thing that I want to kind of shift to here for a moment is to talk about the other part of your planning. You've been planning your return and working towards that. Another goal for guys, generational wealth is being accumulated for a lot of them here in college. Can you grow that wealth over a generation to have it be ready for you when you're done? That's where we get into the financial literacy boot camp. So Andrew, it's different for you because you were part of the freshman group that we had in last year. You had a chance at that point to meet with Dave Hemmick and his crew over at Morgan Stanley. So this is actually your second stint in sort of getting some ideas and getting trained up and talked up on some of the strategies that you can employ. What were the things that you put into place over the course of the last year, and what were maybe some of the different things you focused on this time around?
Yeah, so when I first met with Dave last year, it was a lot being thrown at me just because, all of us college guys, we're in a really unique position right now, with getting all this money at such a young age, versus most people accumulate that over their entire life. And so for me, last year was just about sitting down and soaking in and learning what I can. And over the past year, I've been actually able to, make money and, see mistakes people make with them and learn from that. And so I think this time around when I met with him, it was really just about, going over what I decided to do with my money, where I decided to put it in, retirement accounts, the money market, stuff like that, and really just dive deeper into, like you said, creating general wealth and, realizing the fact that this is a short time period, which we're guaranteed this money, but if you do it right, you can set yourself up. Yeah,
you can set yourself up for life in college, which is crazy to say and to think, but absolutely, if you allow yourself to think into the future. boy, how much security that'll give you to have that already set just with your college years. But you mentioned something. You said, hey, you learn about the mistakes that the guys can make and avoiding those. What were some of the bigger ones that you've seen that you obviously have been conscious about avoiding?
Yeah, I think probably the biggest thing is guys not realizing that there's this thing called taxes. You know what I mean? And realizing that, when April comes around, Uncle Sam, he's going to get his, you know what I mean? And so it's probably the biggest thing that I've seen, guys not preparing for taxes. And then as well, guys just having cash sitting, you know what I mean? Not knowing that there's tax advantages of, putting your money into, certain different things that'll grow your money, you know what I mean? So those are probably the two biggest things that I've seen.
Andrew Babalola, Kansas City, Kansas.
You think I'd save you guys?
I'm on best to have it, honestly. Thank you.
You can kill it. Here with Andrew Babalola, Playbook for Prosperity here at the University of Michigan Credit Union. So, Andrew, a lot of lessons dished out today. What was your biggest takeaway?
My biggest takeaway was the importance of budgeting and the importance of being financially literate. And so you don't make mistakes that, the people here at UMC have seen over the years.
So how much of what you saw today were concepts that were like, man, really, really new for you as opposed to things that you were already familiar with?
Yeah, most of the stuff that I talked about, I already knew a lot of it. But I think the biggest takeaway for me was just really the importance of hammering those things home. You know what I mean? Stuff like paying your credit card bill on time, every single time in full, and how, something as simple as a missed payment could set you back for 7 years. So it's really just the importance of the little things, but just how they can add up in your life.
Yeah, and so what can you apply coming out of this? What will you apply the quickest from everything that you learned?
Definitely just making sure that I'm spreading the knowledge of what I learned to other teammates and friends who might have not known this stuff, and so I can help them on their financial goals too.
There you go, man. That's big time stuff. Each one teach one, helping out your teammates. Right. Andrew Babalola, appreciate your time.
Hey, I appreciate you.
Playbook for Prosperity.
A lot of guys have been talking about adjusting their mindsets to understand that if you put away a fraction of what you're making, that can multiply, 3, 4, 5 times. I think they say it doubles every 7 years or something like that. So you draw that out over 40 years, 5 figures is 7 figures over that period of time. So, man, were you naturally coming in the door a saver, or is that a strategy you've adopted? Like, where you are as saver versus spender?
I was naturally always a saver. You know what I mean? I don't need a lot to feel contempt or happy. We get so much from the school and the football program anyways. I feel like if you do it right, it's pretty easy to save your money.
Yeah, man. And so if you do that, like a lot of the guys, and it seems like, boy, it is really, we've come a long way in 4 years where a lot more guys are conscious, a lot more guys focus on not spending all of their money. A lot more guys focus on not getting hit over the head. Some still do get hit over the head with taxes, but a lot more guys are mindful of that. Are you seeing that with your teammates and seeing that in the locker room?
I definitely am. I think a big credit is the resources that we have for the football program. They have guys who will get in front of us in the team room and talk about stuff like you said, saving your money, the importance of, taxes, and just how to manage everything right.
Yeah, absolutely. It is. It can take a weight off your shoulders about what the future has in store. Where it could just be about, hey, how long can you have your football career be? And then by the time that's over and you get into your other professional endeavors, you're already set. That's what you try to get in place with the Financial Literacy Boot Camp. And so, Andrew, you get through spring ball. At what point did you start getting some contact in again?
Yeah, it was after our May break. So we're off the entire month of May. And then, it was really just the offensive line, some of the leaders in that group, coming out and, just getting sets in, starting off simple like that. And so we just be able to move again, be able to punch, get my hand on guys. And so that was really a turn point for me.
It's hard to say, I understand with this question, but I wonder if you can already tell, other than strength, are there areas that you feel like, man, I'm better at this, even though you didn't play? There are areas of your game that you feel like are better than last year when you got injured?
Yeah, I'd say just my overall body control and how I'm able to feel and move out there. You know what I mean? I feel like last year, I ballooned up in weight pretty easily at the end of fall camp, and I think I've done a really good job over the past year of toning down. The strength staff has been a huge help in that, and just being able to become more flexible, become more naturally fluid out there. And so I'd say just my overall body control and how I feel has gotten a lot better.
Yeah, man, and so it sets you up for what is going to be, I think, a fantastic competition. You got guys with experience with college football. I know you got to get experience in the scheme, but experience in college football, physically mature. You guys have been through some things, so that grizzles you and makes you just more mature with dealing with adversity, right? I'm excited to watch what the competition is going to be like. I mean, you being in it, just give me an idea of the competitive landscape along the offensive line. It feels a lot different now.
Yeah, it definitely is, everybody, there's competition across the board, at different spots, guys trying to compete for jobs. And so I'm excited just to be able to get into fall camp and, just know, like, when you start off and, you're in spiders and helmets, you can tell, like, okay, it's about to get real, Then having those long grinding days when, you got 2-hour practices, I'm excited for it.
So I'm gonna mark it down, my belief in my guy here. Last year, I said to people, Blake Frazier is going to be a starter, all right? People, they laughed. They said, nah, he's too light. He'll never be no, he won't start this year. Not that he'll never be, he won't start this year. Blake Frazier wound up being a starter. Andrew Babalola is going to start it somewhere. This is me saying it, not you. Now, again, this is a highly competitive position. Your best 5 could look real different, right? And so I guess my question to you would be, are you one of those guys that cross trains? Do you just stay at just one spot and just train at that spot? How does that look for you in terms of positional versatility versus, hey, just getting entrenched in one spot and grinding with that?
Yeah, Coach Harding, he always puts a big emphasis on positional versatility. I feel like last year we were all very much in one spot, like everybody was, and so a lot of the guys have been cross-training, this year. And so I'm just ready for fall camp to roll around, seeing, where I excel at and trying to win the job there.
So it's not just left side, right side, it's you work out on both sides?
I'm a left right now mainly, but during fall camp, anything can happen. Coach Harding's made that a clear emphasis, so we'll see.
Okay, all right, yeah, man, that's gonna be really super intense. Can't wait to see how it breaks down. And like you said, a lot of it is gonna be saying you are gonna run the football.
Yes, sir.
Right? And it feels like, now you tell me from being a lineman, it feels like that running back room, as good as Justice was, it feels like you guys aren't going to have any drop-off back there. I'm curious how you feel being around it.
I feel the same way. I think obviously everybody's seen what Jordan's able to do and what he did last year. And so, he's going to be the guy. I'm excited for the guy he's going to have. But then as well, Savion, he's special. He's special. He's as good as they come. And so I'm excited for that room. Even guys like Bryce and Castillo, he can go. And so
yeah, he can.
That whole running back room is special. And so I'm excited for what those guys are going to do this year.
Yeah, you mentioned Bryson, who could have gone someplace else and probably started and decided to come back to Michigan. 100%. That says a lot, and it speaks to the depth of that running back room right now. But, it is also the case with the kind of receiving core that you have. Bryce having a year under his belt stands to reason that you'll throw the ball some more as well. So I'm curious if you have a view of that? If you feel like, yeah, I think we're going to be, I don't want you giving away any trade secrets, but you feel like that's going to be a bigger part of the offense this year?
I think it definitely will. I think it'll play into our strengths a lot. I mean, I think we're loaded at receiver. We got guys all over the field everywhere that can make plays, and so I think that's definitely going to be a major part of the offense this year.
So give me an idea. So you came in with Bryce,
Yep.
right? You guys were the big, like the highest rated guys at both positions ever in the history of the program. Watching him over the course of last season and battled through his freshman year up to now, what are the biggest differences you see in him?
I think the fact that, you know, Bryce has always been a guy that he's super bought into the program, you know, and the thing about Bryce is that he makes guys better, you know, and so I think the fact that, you know, the staff that Coach Witt brought in, you know, it's helped him even more just being able to elevate the guys around him and the scheme playing to his strengths, and so he's going to have a huge year, and I can't wait to see it.
Yeah, man. You know, he's going to have a more seasoned offensive line in front of him. He's going to get better protection, still going to be able to run the football well. That all bodes well for his improvement. Let's talk about the line's improvement. Just by virtue of your return, by virtue of experience, it feels on paper, Andrew, you know, so this is my comparison. Going from 20 to 21. There's a lot of the same guys with maybe a change or two here, but that group went from being like mid to being Joe Moore Award.
Yep.
And if I feel like I see a lot of the same of the earmarks with you guys, I'm curious if you see the same thing.
I definitely do. You know, it's funny. Something that our interim coach, Biff Poggi, said, you know, before that last bowl game against Texas was literally the exact same thing. You know, people talking about the O-line from 2020 to 2021 and how, you know, stuff was shaky, you know, there's a lot of the same guys coming back, but people didn't know what was going to happen. And then, like you said, those guys came on and won the Joe Moore. And so I think, you know, like you said, just by virtual experience, you know, guys coming back, you know, the coaching that we have now, you know, the culture that's been instilled in the room, I think it's going to be a good year for us.
Yeah, man. So again, I see huge things on the horizon for you, but I want your perspective in the room. I'm expecting that everyone has improved, but who's kind of jumped out at you like, man, that dude is really taking a leap, whether it's physically, you know, in terms of, you know, how well they performed, or both. Like, what do you see? Like, who kind of jumps out at you?
I think everybody does, you know. One guy that I'll shout out is a guy from KC, Andrew Sprague. I mean, I think he got a chance to really do it this year, you know. He's a beast. He did it last year, but, I mean, really everybody in the room has improved a whole lot.
So what's the biggest improvement in Sprague you see?
I mean, the thing about Sprague is that he just does stuff so well because he's so big. You know what I mean? And as well, he's so technically savvy and he's able to, you know, get on guys and just clamp up. But I think, you know, watching him, you know, just the like one-on-ones, for example, I mean, just the body control that he has, you know, strike placement, hands, because he's a guy that works hard. I mean, he's always asking Coach Harding, you know, for extra reps and work, you know, after every single practice. And so I think he's going to have a huge year.
So we had, I think it was Trey Pierce, veteran guy, seen a lot, been on the field a lot now, and he said, I think Jake Guarnera is one of the best interior offensive linemen in the country.
Yep.
Period. Right? That's lofty praise. What do you see in Jake that would make one of the guys he competes with say that?
Man, I think the first thing about Jake is that he's super smart. Like, he's able to mentally see everything on the field even before it happens. And so I think that plays into his strength. But as well, you know, I've seen, because he was a guy that, you know, last year when we were in fall camp, you know, he was competing for one of those guard roles, and now, you know, he's the established starting center. And so I think, you know, I agree with Trey wholeheartedly. He's going to have a huge year, and he had a really good camp. You know, he's had a really good summer, and so I'm excited for him too.
So when it comes to the responsibility, I mean, you know, different coaches handle it different ways, and a lot of it varies with the experience of the quarterback, who's making the line checks and shifting protections. But if you got a great center, he can handle a lot of that. How does that work for you guys?
Yeah, it's the same way. I mean, we all have the free will to, make calls, look what we see, but Jake's, the bell cow of it, what I mean? He's the one who gets up there, sets the protection, makes the calls, and so it makes it all a lot easier on us when you have a guy who's that smart and is able to, like I said before, see everything before it happens.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so love hearing what you say about your fellow linemen, but what about the guys you face? Who's jumped out to you on the defensive line as a man making big strides?
I think really that whole edge group, the interior D-line, I think, Eno and Trey are going to have huge years, but I think that whole edge group, I mean, Nichols, I think is going to have a great year. He had a really good spring ball. Nate Marshall, Lou Garden.
So you think Nate is ready to bust out?
I think so. I mean, that's my guy. I think so. But that whole edge group, I think they're going to sock a lot of people this year.
Yeah, man. It'll be interesting to see because, the legacy, as much as we talk about a couple of Joe Moore awards, man, Michigan has become D-line U. With the kind of linemen that they produce. So there's, that could be seen as pressure or a challenge. And these dudes, like you talk to them and they're like, to a man, they're saying, and it's not just the returning guys that are going to surprise people. They're like, they feel like they got some young guys that are really ready to compete and contribute. I'm curious if you've seen the same in that regard.
I definitely do. I think Coach Powell and Coach Black, the two D-line coaches, they're doing a great job with both those rooms. And we got a lot of really talented guys. Carter's one that you mentioned earlier. Tariq Boney. I mean, we got a lot of talent in that edge and a lot of young talent, and so I'm excited for those guys.
Yeah, man. So, it sets up for a lot of exciting competition. So take me through your routine now that you're back. So does that mean that rehab is totally over and it's all just skill stuff, position work? Is that where you are now?
Pretty much. I still make sure to, get to the facility at least an hour and a half before we do any kind of activity, just, to get an activation warm-up, making sure I'm feeling good, hitting the tubs. But, after I do that, it's like it's been the whole summer, just completely be with the team.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so who do you think, this is, looking for you to call your shot a little bit, who are some guys that you think might surprise people? I'll give you a little cheat sheet. No, I won't, because I don't want to put names in your head based on what other guys have said. Who, based on people maybe not knowing who they are or not knowing their backgrounds, who do you think might surprise some people this year?
If I had to go two guys, I'd probably go Dom Nichols and J.J. Buchanan, those two.
So why Dom?
Man, I think Dom's been able to sit behind some really good edge rushers the past couple of years, guys like Josiah Stewart, Derek Moore, Jason, and I think that, he had a really good spring ball and that he's got all the tools, everything that he needs to be great, and so I think he's going to blow up this year.
And then J.J. Buchanan, who was just in. We just had him in. Yeah. You can feel that dude's presence, but what about him?
Man, you saw it when he was at Utah last year, but when he's on the field, you know it. You know what I mean? Just the catches that he's able to make, the plays that he's able to generate. I saw it all throughout spring ball when I was watching film, and so I'm excited for him.
So two guys that have been mentioned by other players, and I just want your thoughts on them. Benny Patterson has gotten votes.
Yeah.
So what about him? What do you think about Benny Patterson?
BP is a dog. He is built exactly how you want an edge rusher to be built. You know what I mean? Strong, powerful, and so I think he's gonna probably be that's a good pick too.
And so then another guy that JJ mentioned, he was like, man, I had never seen this dude. He had been here and I'd never seen him. But now when I look at him, like, that guy's going to be a player. He talked about Nate Staehling. He feels like, hey, you watch out. He's going to be a really good player for us this year. Yeah. I'm curious if you've seen the same thing.
Yeah, I think Nate's going to be really good, too. It's funny. I've gotten a chance to know him a little bit off the field just because we've done a couple internships together. But he's looked really good during the summer, and so I think also he's going to have a big year.
All right, so what does the rest of the offseason look like for you, Andrew? Kind of build up to to fall camp? I mean, and do they start you out day one in fall camp, full go all the way, or is that something that you build up to early in camp?
We're going to see. You know, just finishing workouts right now, you know, get a couple of days off and then, you know, report to the hotel for camp. And so, you know, I expect to be full go right when camp starts, but at the end of the day, we just got to see what happens. But I expect to be able to go out there and be ready to go. Yeah,
man, and I want to finish on a couple of notes. So you said you're repping 450 school, and that was your you know, your max last year.
When I first came in here.
Yeah. So any other metrics that you've seen climb here over the past 5 or 6 months based on your work in this strength and conditioning program?
This might sound a little cliche, but I'd say just how easy I'm able to move the weight. You know what I mean, and keep up with a lot of the older guys. You know, who it feel like when I first got here, okay, you know, the offense or, you know, the O-line lives together, but, you know, you have like a young guy group and then you have an older guy group. But I feel like now I'm able to, you know, keep up, be able to do the same weights and not have a problem with it. And so I think just overall functional strength, I've gotten a lot stronger. Yeah,
so and then I want to close with you I love hearing guys shout out to people who help them, because you kind of talked a little bit about it earlier. You know, you had some real adversity last year. And you're getting back to being you, Coach Harding and his impact on you. But who are the people that have really been central in helping you be you, whether it be this past year coming back from injury, and it's over the course of your development? Who are those? Who are your circle? Who are the people that have helped Andrew Babalola be Andrew Babalola?
Yeah, gotta start with my family first and foremost. You know, my mom, my dad, my brother. You know, they were huge. I mean, they came up a bunch of times right when I got hurt. You know, my mom, she stayed with me, you know, 2 weeks after I had surgery, you know, just in a hotel, you know, topping it up, you know, getting to spend time with her. And so my family was a huge support in that. And then he's not here anymore, unfortunately, but our assistant O-line coach Juan Castillo, he helped me a whole lot when I first got hurt, you know. He even still, when I was on crutches, you know, watched film with me, you know, just be able to go in his office, you know, and talk ball. And so, you know, I miss him. He's at Syracuse now, but he was a huge help to me as well, just keep my mind mentally sharp and just instill me in the fact that, you know, it's a little roadblock, but I'm going to get through it and I'm going to be back.
Yeah, man. Again, like I said, I'm calling the shot. It's not even a big shot to call. I mean, I think a lot of people believe in what Andrew Babalola is going to be like right now. I think you're going to be right back to being who you were, and that makes the offensive line one of the most exciting positions to watch, not only in fall camp but throughout the season. If you had to share some goals, the ones that you feel comfortable sharing, what would those be?
Yeah, start. Start. That's my main goal, and then for a team, you know, it's really 3 big ones. It's, you know, beat Ohio State, win the Big Ten championship, and then win a Natty.
Hey, man, gotta have those ones that are at the top of the heap. And here's the thing: the first one, all of them are in reach, but that first one, I think, is definitely in reach. So ride with me, people. Andrew Babalola, I'm calling the shot. I think he's gonna be one of the 5 you see out there consistently at some point this season, man. So proud of you, so happy for you that you're back.
Thank you.
Looking forward to seeing you grind on that field, finishing people again, man. So thanks a lot for joining us again, and good luck this season.
Thank you, Sam. I appreciate it.
All right, and that'll do it for another edition of Behind the Uniform.